Hey guys, it's Faith and Faith Gaming here. I hope you're well. Guys, apologies for the, I think it's a slight echo, but I'm sat in quite a big room until I move my setup upstairs. So I'm going to match a few Total War Warhammer 2, Clan Angrund versus Beastmen. Quick take a check, kind of look out, look at the armies that we've taken. I'll run through them in game just so you can see the kind of positioning formation. I've got a bit of a admission, so to speak. The map gave me a beautiful position, a little funnel. I think this is impassable right in the middle. Cliffs are obviously impassable, means you can only get me on three fronts technically. This little gap here, the front line here, and the whole rear here. Now, I'm not in favour of corner camping or anything like that, but when the map gives you something like that as dwarves, you just use it, don't you? But so I will give it to him from the very beginning. He's kind of got it against him a bit. This is kind of what I'd call a beautiful, kind of perfect kind of Dawi position. If I was being a real dick, I could have gone on kind of on the mountain here, auger guns up here, block this entry, block that entry, guns on the mountains, and yeah, that would have been horrible. So I didn't do that. Very quickly, I took two Longbeards, kind of one front line, left and right, with the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass in the middle, King Lun on the far right, Belgar Ironhammer in the centre, Ironhammer. Whatever that guy's first name is, Stonebeard on the left. A set of Dwarven Warriors with great weapons, followed up by a second line of two Miners, a set of Thunderers, two sets of Bugman Rangers, two Organ Guns, and then three sets of Hammers, one in either flank and one in the full rear position. With a set of these Giant Slayers I've never used before, so was pretty keen to see what those boys could do. I've also got a set of Gyrocopters which are already on the way to go and harass some of his units. So he brought two sets of Centaurs on my right, one with thrown axes, one with great weapons, two Minotaurs with shields here, another set of Minotaurs at the back here with shields as well, three sets of Boarherds without shields, so 1, 2, 3, and then another 5 with shields. He really loves Boarherds, so kind of front line split here into kind of a center attack, and then this side, and then the kind of Centaurs and Minotaurs on that side. Two sets of these Razor Gore Heads, and also a Chaos Giant, or Beastman Giant, whatever you want to call it, as well as Khazrak on a Chariot, which makes him an absolute beast. Real pain in the ass. He does some really good damage. It can't be pinned down. Bit of a nightmare. I'll put it onto full speed so you can see what it's about. I initially really wasn't worried with what was going to go down here. My first thought was obviously he's going to flank me, going to try and get around the back with the Razor Gores, the Centaurs, and then try and get into these organ guns, because that's probably what I would have done while throwing my Goreheads into these front lines. Probably with my Minotaurs thrown into these front lines, try and punch a hole through one place. So my idea was just to, let's pummel these Minotaurs, let's get them, get these guys down as little as we can. Because kind of Longbeards and Hammers and stuff, the Goreheads are really going to struggle to get through those lines. He has got two best Goreheads, which I've forgotten to mention, but they don't really play a huge part in this, so they're a bit late to the game, so to speak. Khazrak comes in here, and literally, this is a miss micro on my part here, trying to send my Bugman to hit those Minotaurs. He gets in, and I think that little charge gets him 22 kills or something crazy, or 19, 20 kills. That crazy 22 there. I'll slow it down just so you can see what's kicking off. So Goreheads into Longbeards in the front here. These Goreheads into the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. They get blast and charged pretty nastily. Again, these guys Goreheads into kind of Longbeards here as well. King Lun, or the Stonebeard, sorry, wading in here. He does go for kind of a flank with two sets of Goreheads, which leaves kind of front lines joined perfectly. This is exactly how you want to fight as a dwarf player. So he's thrown everything just into my front lines, literally ripe for the blasting charges and everything like that. Absolutely lovely. Put in the thing. He does kind of hit this flank a lot harder I say that, he hits both the flanks quite hard, but these Centaurs are great weapons. They come in and they do quite a bit of work on these Longbeards. By the end of this fight, they're not loving life at all. We did send off a set of his Minotaurs, and the other sets lost a lot of health. Send in these miners to try and just support these Longbeards so they don't get absolutely ruined. Slow it down again a little bit because quite a lot going on, and it's over relatively quickly. He sends 2 sets of Goreheads into these hammers, which is bad for the Goreheads, good for the hammers. You can almost, if it's on full speed, you can watch these hammers, you can watch the kills just tick up, and they'll happily all day just take on all those both those sets of those Goreheads. Absolutely loving life in there. So you can see 30, I think 31, 32, and that's on slow. That's on kind of reduced speed. He does push for this flank as well, quite solidly. That's why I had kind of the Longbeards kind of either flanks rather than the kind of putting the Dragonfire Pass for us there, because they're decent for unique unit, but they're not Longbeards. So all this does is make me flick over some Bugmen to fire into this gaggle of troops there. This is kind of, when you're playing dwarves, you always get stuff like this, and you think, Jesus, I wish they had some sort of magic, but that would just make them totally OP, right? And that couldn't happen. Maybe just a little bit of magic. Back over here. This is the era that I think essentially loses him the game. Khazrak's already taken quite a lot of damage to have racked up 41 kills. I think the organ gunners have hit him a bit. Some Bugmans have hit him. He got into a fight with King Lun, who actually, he probably wouldn't be able to take because of the ethereal. He has the right idea, using the chariot like this as a kind of a chariot, just sweeping through our ranks, straight through Thunderers, straight into the Bugmans, trying to cause hassle. You've got to be so careful not to get pinned down, and I'll come back to it in a sec, but not ideal for him being stuck back there with a set of Giant Slayers, hammers, and all running around. The other set of Minotaurs gets thrown off as well. As you can see, these Longbeards are absolutely getting rinsed, or have got rinsed. These Centaurs with throwing axes will do good damage to those guys. Those axes they throw are actually armor piercing. Probably not stuck in his. Looks like it's magnetic. Probably not the perfect target because they have got shields. But yeah, anything that does kind of get through will cause some good damage to those guys. And yeah, there's no point sending them out to break your line because they're never going to catch him. It's a waste of time. So Khazrak here in the center, just the hammers kind of make real short work of him, and then these Giant Slayers come in, and for their sins, those guys lose, but 2 of them just lose their heads. But yeah, that's the end of him. Look, hammers did their work, and the Giant Slayers just see him absolutely melt. Our hammers on this front, and that sees him die actually. And as soon as he dies, you'll see that morale on everything is literally just tittering on being broken. The Giants probably only just got into combat, or kind of been in there a little while, but taking quite a lot of damage. As I said, these hammers are up to 103 kills. They've lost 11 units so far against 2 sets of Goreheads. These guys are on the way out the door. These guys will shortly follow with kind of 6 kills. This Giant's starting to waver. This big blob here, the hammers that just finished off Khazrak, making their way up to join that fight, as well as now the Giant Slayers can make a move as well. These Longbeards still in the game, kind of down to 35 units from 100. Miners come in to support these guys, but it's all a little bit too late. These Vestigors have they've kind of got into combat, look, so they've only lost 2 models on their 9 models there. They've managed to rack up a hell of a lot of kills on kind of those Warriors, Dragonfire Pass, and whatever else was in there with them. I'm not quite sure. Probably a set of hammers that came up initially, but they didn't really have a chance to get involved in the game and really make an impression, because slow it down a second, because this is kind of where everything just says good night essentially. So these Vestigors it's probably one of the most expensive units he's got in the field, minus the giant and stuff. I mean, infantry wise, and the most useful against dwarves, kind of armor piercing and kind of heavily armored as well. Definitely hold their own with anything on on the field. They just haven't had chance to shine at all because they're just kind of late coming in. I appreciate if they'd been in the front lines, they would have got peppered by maybe archers, and the organ gunners would have had a go at them as well. But with Khazrak dying so early in this fight, just look around. He's still got quite a lot of units. Some of these things quite heavy. His Minotaurs are spent. But these Bestigors, you look around what I've got left to defend against those. I've got one full set of hammers, which is here. I've got my Giant Slayers, which, yeah, they probably wouldn't hold their own against it. I've got another set of healthy hammers here. But apart from that, everything else, nearly infantry-wise, is pretty boned. This is the end of the game. But if you hadn't lost Khazrak, all the kind of all the regrouping and stuff that the Beastmen do, similar to kind of goblins because they've got low morale, I think that would have been a much closer game with those Besticle herds. I would have really had trouble kind of shutting them down, I think. Maybe the organ gunners could have sounded off or he'd bulked them up, but certainly would have lost a lot more Dawi in that fight trying to shut them down. Just a shame that Khazrak got caught out like that. On that chariot, you can use him as kind of just slinging him through the ranks, but you have got to be careful that some of the units, Dwarven Hammers and stuff like that, they've got quite a lot of mass, so he can be pinned down quite easily and surrounded if you're not careful on what you're throwing him into. Just looking at the scoreboard, so the Gore here is not really racking up any kills, which is to be expected against kind of Longbeards. They're not going to do that. The Bestigor, kind of one of the ones that got in. They haven't been in combat very long, but 68 kills is real good. The Razor Gore head's not really doing any work. All the Minotaurs just getting shut down, kind of slung in at the front ranks there, which is a bit of a shame. And the Giant coming away with 4 kills is a bit of a disaster. But yeah, I did have a nice position on the map, but still maybe should have tried to flank a little bit and hold me up a little bit more. So like those organ gunners, 60 kills each isn't bad, because if you're kind of selective with the targeting, those 60 kills are kind of probably more a lot of Minotaur kills, kind of Centaur kills, things that just need to die in expensive units. On my side, then the hammer is just doing work on that left side, holding back those 2 Gore herds. Sometimes you've got to be quite selective as to what you send in and where you send it in, because Gore herds against hammers, it's just a waste. I know you're holding up hammers, but when you've got a defensive position like that, you can hold them up all day. They're still just holding one of the flanks. But good game though, I enjoyed that. I'm not sure what the Crocs did, but the map was certainly in my favour. But if you like the video, guys, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I've finally moved into my house, hence the echo. Literally, Steel Faith Overhaul is out today as well. Woo! So got a couple of campaigns lined up to be started this week, so keep an eye out for those as well. And until the next video, guys, I will catch you again. Be safe.